How's it going, folks? Welcome back to another episode. In a few days, I'm heading over to northeastern Oregon to do a 10-day elk hunt. I'm going to be showing you guys what I'm bringing and a few things that may not be necessary, but you should bring if you're in the same situation. So we're going to go ahead, get started with the first thing. Yeah, stick around, stay to the end, and hopefully you learn a thing or two. All right, so the first thing, we like to do a lot of hunting out of a blind. We go sit in this. Here, I'm going to show you guys. So basically the whole goal of this is so the elk can't see you, so you sit inside of it. You can see out of it, but they can't see in. Show you guys what it looks like on the inside. I'm not sure if you can really see in here, but basically it's pretty simple. There's no flooring. You just kind of set your chair down, sit, and you can see out of this when we open up. I'll show you guys what it looks like with the hatches open. Alright, so that's enough for us to open up because we want to still be hidden when we're back there. In fact, I would like to put this one up out there. It's pretty light in here, it's pretty nice. We got the bows sitting right there. Like I said, we're gonna do some shooting at the end of this video. I'm not sure if I said that. If I did, cool. But you can see out of it, or at least we can as humans. The camera isn't really picking it up. We can see everything, right, that's going on, but you step out, and bam, it just looks like it. You would put this black, oh, let's see, black. Put that in there. And I mean, it works pretty well. Nothing can see you. So yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is you're gonna need some chairs when you're sitting in the blind. So pass you off here. There's a few different types of chairs. Some of them have backs like this one. See if I can, like this. Some people like to have this. Some people shoot off them, some people don't. You just kind of stick that in the blind. Other ones are more like stools. Demonstrate how to sit down. It's pretty good. They'll have bags in them. You can just put stuff down there. Not quite sure what you're gonna want to put there, but whatever floats your boat. You might want to put like a drink in there or something, or maybe you can put part of the chair in there or something. Not quite sure. But at this point, it's all up to preference what you like. If you want a back, if not, if you want to shoot off of it. It's probably easier to shoot off of one without a back, but when you're sitting in there for hours at a time, you're gonna want to be able to be relaxed. But it's truly up to you. Sometimes these can get in your way, and some people don't like to shoot off of a chair when they're in the blind. They'll go down to their knees and take a shot, or they'll just be sitting down, like I said. But yeah, that's about it for that. We're gonna go inside and show you some of the smaller things that I'm bringing. All right, we're under the house now. So the first thing that you're gonna want is you're gonna want some tools, whether that be an Allen wrench that you're gonna need if you're tuning your bow up, tuning it down, fixing your sights. That's what this is for, or just whatever else you're gonna need. You're gonna need your shovel for when you gotta go poop. If there's something in the way where you're trying to put your tent, or you need to cut a branch, you got your saw. And then there's just other things that you can decide to bring if you want to, like this is a ratchet set, hammer, this is an adjustable wrench set. Basically, things you're gonna need for camping for 10 days. Fix things, build things, whatever. Let's move on. All right, the next thing you're gonna need are arrows. I cannot stress this enough. You can never have too many arrows. Arrows break, arrows bend, arrow fletchings. Here, I'm just gonna give you a few examples. Like here, a fletching is sliced off. If that happens, arrow's not gonna fly right. You're one arrow down. Sometimes they completely come off. Sometimes they come off a little bit of the ways, but you can't get them back on. Sometimes, as you can see here, the top of the arrow shatters. Sometimes the back shatters. Sometimes the tip just breaks off. So you need a lot of extra arrows. Here's just the arrows that I'm gonna be shooting. I got 12 of them. I'm gonna bring every single one of them just in case you lose any. All right, so the next thing you're gonna wanna know is what type of arrow tips you're gonna want. So when you're just target practicing, you're gonna wanna use these. These are called field points. They're just no blades, nothing, just a sharp tip and lead or steel or whatever it's made out of. Stainless steel, yeah. But the next type of arrowhead when you're actually hunting is a broadhead. There's tons of different types. I'm pretty sure there's 3 blades like these. There's 2 blade broadheads like here. a ton of different types. Like, it's all, broadheads are completely preference. The ones I'm going to be shooting this year are called the G5 Montec. They're 100 grain, and they say they're supposed to have the same accuracy as your field point that you would use when you're sighting in. However, that's not always the case, so it's always good to do some target practice with your broadheads before you actually get into the forest, because you want to be sure that your bow is going to be shooting darts every single shot, because you don't want to be having to worry about it. You want to be able to trust your sights and not worry about missing. The next type of arrow tip that you're always going to want to have at least one of when you're walking around the forest is this. This is called a judo point. These are made for birds, especially, I mean, I wouldn't say they're made for any bird in particular, but where we go hunting, we see a lot of grouse. And when you eat a grouse, you will love it. They're one of the best eating birds, I would say. It's always good to have one of these just in case you run across a dove or whatever, maybe a quail, maybe a grouse, it just all depends. All right, the next thing, and that is gonna be pretty quick, is what type of knock to use. A knock is what goes on the end of the arrow and connects to the string. There's just a standard knock with no lights in it, nothing fancy, but it works. It's effective. But there's another thing called, there's like a ton of different brands that use them. They're outlawed in some states, but our state allows us to use them. They're called Luminox. They're lighted knocks, so you can see where your arrow shoots. I wouldn't say they don't improve your shot at all, but they're really nice to know where you hit, and if you miss your shot, it's super crucial to be able to find your arrows, because arrows are not cheap and nobody likes to lose them. So yeah, that's pretty simple, but make sure you have different types of knocks. All right, the next thing is you're gonna need not one, but two at least releases. These are, if you don't know, they connect to the back of the bowstring, so you're able to shoot it. I'm not the back of it, they connect to the D loop. It's pretty simple. You clasp it on, you pull it back, and then you just pull the trigger when you're ready to let the arrow go. These break and these get lost in the forest, so you better have a second one, because it improves your shot, and if you shoot with your fingers, you're not going to be killing anything. There's different types. This one is Velcro. This one is kind of like a belt. Some of them have both. Some of them can lock in place. Personally, I don't think it's worth buying a super expensive one, but if you're into that kind of thing, go ahead, buy it. They can lock in position, so when you're walking through the forest, they don't dangle around. I think it's unnecessary, but people like to use it. So yeah, these are all preference. Colors, sizes, types, it's all up to you. But yeah, just make sure that you have two of them, because if you don't, you'll be sad when yours breaks or it gets lost. All right, the next thing is a case for your bow. You don't necessarily need this, but it makes your life so much easier. It keeps your sights sighted in. Makes pretty simple. But yeah, I mean, pretty standard. You can get hard cases, you can get soft cases. Again, it's another thing that's all preference. It makes your bow stay safer and nicer. But if you don't want one, I guess you don't have to have one, but that's your loss when you have no sighted in. All right, the next thing you're gonna want is a frame pack. It's one of these guys. It's kind of like a backpack, but if you can see here, there's a metal frame. So when you're packing out an animal, after you successfully killed it, it makes it so much easier to carry it. It's kind of built in. Inside of it, make sure you always have your knives. We've forgot knives before when we killed an animal, and that is horrible, because then you have to go buy some more, drive it all the way home, and then cut it up there, and then it gets old and bad, and you do not want to waste an animal. So make sure you have your knives. Make sure you have your game bags. If you're not quite sure what those are, they are what you put the parts of the elk and the quarters, or however you decide to skin it or cut it up, or gutless method, whatever you do, you put the meat inside of here. Plastic bags are just tragic, so do not use those. Don't be that guy. Next thing you want in your frame pack is latex gloves. You just don't want to get all that stuff all over you, so make sure you have these, and anything else you think you might need when skinning an animal, put in there. It's better to have too much stuff than not enough. All right, moving on. Next up is your luck charm. Every hunter has to have something that's gonna get them lucky. If you find, this is a whistler, it comes out of a bull elk after you kill it. It just, rub it before your hunt. It's superstition, but you gotta always have one. Whether or not it be a whistler or a antler that you find on the ground, just make sure you have one of those because you never know, you might just get lucky. All right, next up is your elk calls, or just your animal calls, I guess. This is a baby hoochie mama cow call. There's a lot of things that are like this. You just go. Pretty self-explanatory how these work. Then you go for something that's a little more complicated and harder to use. Basically, you go here, you bite down, and you blow, and then you kind of slowly release off of it. I'm not very good at it. Be prepared. I don't use this personally, but some people do. I have it. I'm horrible at using it, but you kind of get it. It's harder to use, but I don't really know how to use it, so I'm going to leave that one to the people who do. Next kind of call is a mouth reed. As you can tell, this one has had some use. It's a little dirty and things like that. This one doesn't really work. It's really just, there's no more, it's just wore out. You get the point. You just press your tongue up against this part right here, and you kind of blow and change how you blow, and it's complicated. It takes a little while to get. As you can tell, I haven't quite mastered it yet. I've never even used that call before, but you know, whatever you guys want to use. There's tons of different types of calls. Bottom line is find one that works for you, or find a couple. If you want to sound like a herd, you got to have at least 3 different cow sounds. And yeah, it kind of goes along. Next up, you have your elk bugle. This, I will not be blowing this. I'm horrible, but sound like a bull elk. You can do it many different ways. You can do a chuckle. You can do just a full bugle. You can just do a scream. Whatever works for you, like I said. But you want to be able to do as many as possible for different situations. You got to be able to sound like plenty of different elk. You can't just be one. Bottom line is have a lot of calls, figure out what works for you, and you'll hopefully be successful. So let's move on. All right, next up is this. This is a quiver. You put your arrows in it, it connects to your bow. These can break. As you can kind of guess, the bottom line is have a lot of stuff, have more releases, have more quivers, have more arrows. You want to make sure you're prepared for any sort of situation. I already have a quiver on my bow, but I will still be taking this just in case I break mine or lose it. I don't guess how you could lose it because it's mounted to your bow, but they can break. He's laughing behind the camera. So yes, have a second one of these. It's kind of what I've been saying with everything, but it's true, and you need a second one of almost everything. So let's move on. Next up is your rangefinder. I'll show you. This is a Sig Sauer rangefinder. If you don't know what this is, you're probably didn't go to school or something like that. This is basically, you can tell how far something is away from you. Camera guy, you are 1 yard away from me. Wall, 20 yards. Oh, 15.3 yards. Basically, just shows you how far away you are from everything. And each different pin on your bow's sight is for a different yardage, so you want to make sure you know how far away you are, so that way you can pick the right pin and make your shot. Make sure you have one of these. 2 of them, I mean, you could, but just plan on not losing them because they are expensive. And I guess this kind of goes with the next one. The next one is binoculars. You need yourself a good pair of binoculars. These are Vortex binos. You want to be able to see things from very far away. And you're going to be thinking, well, why don't you just use the rangefinder as your binoculars? No, don't do that. It doesn't work. Basically, you get the point. You know what binoculars are. See things farther away. Pretty simple, self-explanatory. You need binoculars and you need a rangefinder. no questions asked. You need them. Let's move on. If you're like me and you like to film, gotta bring your camera equipment. These are both tripods. When I'm in the blind, I'm gonna set the camera up on these. These break easily, so I'm gonna have 2 of them. If you're filming, you should probably do the same thing. But you don't need them. You can just hold the camera, but it makes it more difficult. So this is what I'll be bringing. If they break, you got a second one. Next up, you want this. These bend. You can hook them around a tree. You can hook them around your hand, whatever it might be. Just another thing to hold on to. You got your bags, put your cameras in, put everything else you need, memory cards, chargers, batteries, whatever else, mics, everything you need for a camera, lenses. I could go on forever, but bottom line is, for me, I need all my camera equipment just so I can bring the footage straight to you guys. This should be, or the upcoming video should be the best video ever on this channel because got a brand new camera, great quality. We got all the equipment that we need, and the main priority is going to be filming just as much as it is hunting, so we can show you guys what it's like and just bring you guys along with us. I guess that wasn't exactly the last thing because you're going to need your headlamps and your flashlights. Whoa, I almost forgot what a flashlight was. So when you're in the forest and you're packing out an animal and it's getting dark and it gets dark, you want to be able to see where you're going. If it's early mornings and you're going out there and you're getting to your stand before the animals do, you also want your lights so you can see where you're going. It's pretty self-explanatory. You got to see, unless you got a cane, but that doesn't really work out there. So, yeah, that's about it. All right, last but certainly not least, it's your pellet gun. You'll be sitting around camp, and there will be the most annoying squirrel ever. Walking back, stealing your food. You want to kill him. You want to kill the squirrel. You want to kill the rabbit. You want to kill whatever else it is. We're also going to be bringing a 22, a AR, a 9mm, but you want to have guns so you can kill things, not just have your bow, because when you're sitting around camp and you're bored, or not, you can never be bored, but when you're sitting around camp and you want another thing to do, take your gun and you just go shoot stuff. It's the best thing to do. Super fun. So make sure that you bring a pellet gun or 22 or whatever it may be, just something that you can have fun with while you're around camp and just kill stuff. All right, now we're gonna shoot some arrows. Like I said, I'm not sure whether or not we got that. I'm just gonna be shooting, like I said, with my field points. I have 5mm Axis arrows. That's kind of a common thing to use with blaze fletchings, and I'm not shooting with Luminox right now, just standard Nocks. I'm gonna hopefully be able to hit the target, get sighted in, make sure we're ready, and yeah, just see how it goes. All right, we're gonna be starting up here at 20 yards. 20-yard marker. This broken arrow. Toss my 3 arrows down that I'm gonna be shooting right now down. Tripod. We're gonna go turn the target to where we want it. This right here is our target. It's a block vault, I guess, block vault. We're not gonna be shooting this side. Shooting this side for now. As you can see, it's got a little bit of use. We got it this year. We've been shooting a lot. Yeah, just getting ready for the season. Favorite time of the year. Whether or not we get an animal, it's the best time of the year. Just being out in the forest with your friends. It's what it's all about. So let's get shooting, sight it in, and then we'll end today's video. But hopefully this has been helpful and you'll use some of the things I told you. If not, thanks for watching. All right, I'm gonna be aiming for the letter O in the word block. About 2 inches high. Straight through the O. My sights are dialed. Me, as a human, as an individual, I am not dialed. We're gonna shoot another round from 20 and then move back to 30. And maybe if we feel it, we'll go to 40. All right, round 2, here we go. All right, we're shooting out of the blind right now. It's gonna be weird, it's gonna be wacky Wednesday. I forgot my arrows. Clack. Now we're gonna go shoot from 40 yards and gotta move this blind. Boom! Alrighty folks, I hope you learned something. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and peace.